Well, here we are again, another early morning. The past few days I've been sleeping a little later because I have been working all week in the gardens. Here in New England, and especially in our neck of the woods, we had a freeze and I had to protect our gardens. And opposite of a freeze, I actually caught our gardens on fire, unintentionally, of course, and you're going to see that later. I'm also going to give you a sneak peek of the garden event that was happening at Twin Elm Farm. And if you're seeing this today on the 21st of May, it's still going on. It's just the kickoff for our summer season. And then I want to also thank the Kindred Spirits for saying hi to me at that event. It was so nice meeting you in person. A little bit later in this video, we're going to take a little walking tour of Harvard, Mass. I hope you enjoy this video. Future videos, we're going to be doing a lot more inside the house, and I'm also going to be driving around and touring a lot more of New England for you. We're going to go inside some private homes, private gardens, inns, you name it. All through the year, we have some special plans for you. I hope you enjoy this video. Well, I certainly opened Pandora's box with this project. Luckily, it's not as hot as it has been, but I'm right now edging around this tree. I'm going to tell you about this tree in a moment of what the arborist told me. So I'm going to be definitely working on this. But around the property, we have a lot of roses. This is the third summer that we've been here, and none of them have really done anything. Well, while I was edging, I figured out that wire mesh was put under the roses. I'm guessing to keep critters from getting it, but critters couldn't get to it and roots couldn't get out. So for 3 years, this poor rose has been struggling to grow and nothing's happening. So I'm looking forward to digging up all of these roses and giving them a nice new home with wonderful soil, and I will amend it and I will give them some biotone for flowers and give them, like, once again, a new life. These poor roses deserve it. But let me tell you about this tree, and then I'm going to get back to digging. When we had the arborist here, he was looking around at all the trees for us and mentioning things that we should or should not do. And he mentioned that this tree is a $20,000 tree at this size. And he was so pleased to hear that during the storm, I was out here, getting the snow off of it. But he pointed out some limbs that I need to cut and why I need to cut them. So let me show you what I'm going to be doing. For instance, we have this trunk right here that's growing out. What it's doing, it's taking energy from the main one, and it's going to start rubbing on this particular trunk right here. So he suggested I take this one out. And then there were some others up in the tree top here also that are rubbing each other. He said those need to go. Then all of these little suckers need to go. Some of these coming off of the sides need to go. And it was even suggested I trim some of these lower limbs off. I'll decide if I want to do that or not. But I got to start bringing it in, or else the limbs are going to get really too long and it won't be savable in the future. Oh, here's a broken limb right here. So this one's broken from the storm, or just, well, I don't know. This one looked dead and it's got growth on it. But so that's what this tree, I'm going to go around and prune it after I edge this whole area, clean up. And over here also, underneath rhododendrons, which I'll also be moving, there was this plastic weed barrier. and it was just being exposed. You can see some over here. I know it was good intentions to keep weeds away, but it's actually caused some issues. And unfortunately, these rhododendrons are also being nibbled on by something. Last year, there were no green leaves at this time. I did fertilize them. At least there's leaves now, but I think I'm gonna have to do some neem oil, but it might be a little too late for this season. But these are going to be moved on the other side of the driveway, I believe, a little bit more in the shade, part sun, because this is technically was garden gate to the side yard, and these trees now block that. So I'm going to remove these and remake the path to that area. These trees also have to be trimmed, but this is what I have ahead of me. As I'm going around edging it, I'll do a little extra reshaping soon, but I'm trying to find the old shape. I'm curving this part of the garden bed a bit so it wasn't such a sharp angle. While I'm here, I think I'll dig this one up and see if the root system is the same situation. Poor roses. I don't have a camera stand because I wasn't planning on filming, but same situation. Poor little rose has been encased in this cage for, I say fur instead of for, and I've heard that on videos, but it's going to keep happening. It has been encaged for I don't know how many years. And this poor little plant is going to be very happy because I'm going to give it a new life, but it's just been inside this wire mesh. Sure, the animals didn't get to it, but it didn't get to thrive and try to grow. Now that I'm going to be digging this up, I think I'll create a path right to the oil fill, because he usually comes right here and through the bushes. So I think I'll just give him a nice simple path right there, a few stones or bricks, and call it a day for that area of the little garden. I waved the white flag. The property won. I had to call in help. We have some mulch coming in. They're gonna do a lot of edging for us, weeding, and the gardens are gonna get what they deserve as a start. Hopefully to a point where I'll be able to take over, and then they'll come and help me maintain it over time. And here's our neighbor, Baxter. Hello, Baxter. So we're just going to do a little before here. And we discussed, even though this is the same crew that's going to be doing the walkway, they're going to have to kind of refix some of the yard work once the walkway goes in. But we just wanted Sugarwood to have a nice fresh start to the season. And they're not going to be able to get to the walkway until about July. So at least we'll have a couple months. There's the digging that I started. It's going to look very different in a while. Looks like Willow is checking out the yard. Now the lawn still needs to be cut, but the grounds are so much happier. Look at the viburnum, how it popped in just a couple days. And the chocolate vine finally has some flowers on it. I'm excited about that. This rose bush got quite a pruning, needed it, and I might even make it a little shorter at one point down the road. here's the big difference. Oh, I feel happy for our house. It looks like there's maybe one Solomon seal over here. I'm gonna go take a peek. I think it is. And look, oh my gosh, they even have the rhododendrons are gone. They cleaned this up. So now we have, look, Willa's gonna check out her path. So now I have an area where I can make a path. And now I just have to find where they put them. Oh wow, they even cleaned all of the little suckers off of the tree that I was going to do. Amazing. It looks so much better. Now I have a little, I can do some annuals here for some color. I am going to order some window boxes for the front. I've got to get online and do that soon. And I now will do the urns. I was kind of waiting for this to be done. And then they'll come back for the walkway. I have to find where they planted the other plants, or they were going to make just a holding zone for them. And I think they were going to come back and bring me some more of this mulch. This is a compost. Wow, so they already went and came back and did bring some bark mulch. The gardeners put a lot of the plants they dug up for me here in a little holding area until I decide where I want them to go. And then they'll be moved and a new life will start. I might do some gardening in a minute. It is very chilly out, but it's beautiful. There's no bugs. They're too cold. I'm outside right now trying to be a really good plant mom to all the new plants and to also the peonies. I have pillowcases over the peony heads, and I got to use a lot of the maple sap collecting buckets, and I have cloches out here and old buckets. In the garden, once again, maple sap collecting buckets and pots. When I saw it was going to go down to 26 degrees tonight, I just had to do something. I have to go find some more pillowcases. For the larger peonies, I just put a bamboo stick right up the center, and I'm going to put a fitted sheet over it. Once again, just with hopes to keep the ice off of these that might form during the night. But there's no way I'm going to be able to cover everything. I'm being very selective, and the peonies are first on my list. Over in the vegetable garden, I used all sorts of things. I used buckets and old pots that, even though they have holes, I'm hoping that will keep the majority off. I have some of the maple sap collecting. I have my new cloche over there. And then over in this area where I have the pineapple sage that I just planted, I didn't get to clean anything up in this area yet, but I used the glass cloches there. Now I gotta go do the others. If you think putting a pillow in a pillowcase is hard, try putting peonies in a pillowcase. A little bit harder. Well, it's the next morning, and I could already tell by looking out the window that some of the plants are not happy. Once the sun hits this, hope it gets a little bit happier. Yeah, we definitely have ice here. I am so glad I did cover all of the babies. I want to see here under some of the cloches. Okay. The tulips, those that were left, not too happy. I don't know if they'll perk up today or not. I forgot to cover this one delphinium. Darn it. Okay, well, let's see what happens with the sun. The other delphiniums are under these containers. I've got some peonies that were tiny under here. Oh, look at the peony leaves there. You know, hindsight, I should have put some bigger stakes with a sheet. I wasn't, you know, this was last minute. I came out here after work. Oh, shoot. Well, could have been a lot worse. A lot worse. I'm going to leave these on for just a little longer, just till the sun pops up. Unfortunately, I have to leave the house in a couple hours. I have an appointment to head out for, and then I'm working at the spring garden event at the shop. But today's supposed to actually get in the high 60s now, so it's kind of crazy. This is New England for ya. I was just looking out my kitchen window and I saw some flowers that didn't fare so well through the freeze last night. My Japanese snowball viburnum. Freezer burn. Such a shame. They were just coming into their own. Here's our traveling peony, and so far it looks like she's going to be fine. They're all a little bit, just a little askew from, I think, from being cold and inside a pillowcase. If I was shoved inside a pillowcase, I'd probably be a little bit askew too, but I think once the sun hits them, we should be good. Fingers crossed. like the tomatoes did okay. These are in their temporary holding area. I'm going to get some more soil and I'm going to plant them because these get very large. This is the pineapple sage. All right, well, I do think this made a huge difference. From seeing the Japanese snowball viburnum out front, their burnt petals, I think we did good. So now I've got to get myself ready. Actually, I'm ready. I gotta get myself on the road. I gotta get my coffee and go.
Check this out. I just walked outside and smelled smoke, and your little glass thing has nearly created a problem. All fixed.
This is crazy. There's all the charcoal. Literally started a fire here in the garden. Wow. Who would have thunk it? I should have actually. Well, considering I told myself last year that I was not going to work on this backside garden, and then I'm like, well, maybe I will. I did spend quite a while today in between going out golfing with Ben, weeding, edging, removing naughty plants. And I know some of the naughty plants are going to come back because I couldn't get down to all their tap roots, but even mint was growing in here. And unfortunately, the mint had really intertwined with the Russian sage. So I had to get rid of most of it, and I got a lot of the mint tap roots. I left some of the Russian sage there, so that should and will take over. I have some of the tall phlox left here. I have some lilies that already look like they have something nibbling on them, which seems really early. So I'm going to get my neem oil out and see if I can spray that. And I re-edged this as much as possible. Kind of a rush job, if I can call it a rush job, because the mosquitoes keep chasing me inside. But so much better than it was. I still have all this area to do. Then I'll be weeding the pea stone, re-edging it, getting a delivery of stone to come in. But that's my pile. And I did lose some plants the other night. I thought they were going to be okay, but the cucumbers did get frozen. Don't think those are savable. I'm going to see what happens, but I'm going to give them a trim. Luckily, the tomatoes look okay. I just have to stake them up. I took the stakes out to put the barrels over them. And I also lost my peppers. Those were very fragile little leaves. They definitely burnt in the weather. Those didn't make it even though they were covered. So I'm gonna have to do the peppers over, and I'm really surprised that these peppers made it, the sweet banana peppers, because those were newer. Go figure. Oh well. These I will be able to replace easily, and everything else looks really good. So I need to get more cucumbers, more peppers. I think I can put these barrels away. I think we're past the point where we're gonna have some more freezing. If not, I know where to get them. They'll be in the shed. The peonies straightened right up. Those came out great. So it's supposed to rain all day tomorrow. And you probably can't hear me because of the wind. I might have to do a voiceover here. But the plan will be, when it's nice out again, I will be eradicating all of these, trying to get down to the tap roots as much as possible. And I'm thinking this whole area might be peonies if I can get it cleaned up enough with this invasive plant. So it's definitely coming along to my vision of wanting somewhat of a New English country garden. I'll also have to get rid of these. I might be saying this again because I know sometimes I film in the morning. So I'll dig those up and I'll replace them with a different plant to get rid of those weeds. And even though the bleeding hearts, they look a little worse for wear. I don't even know did I cover those? I did not cover those. So those got a little bit burnt as well. But there's a lot of new growth at the bottom. So I could trim these down and let the new growth come right up. So these will be fine, especially next year. I'm not worried about that. I'm going to go in now and have the dinner. Oh, I also worked in this garden area and partially around the house. I forgot to pick up my piles. I have that to do tomorrow. Nope, Sunday. So I also weeded here, and these are for silver dollar plants that there was just one last year, and now we've got quite a few. But little at a time. Oh gosh, what did one of our kindred spirits, eating an elephant a bite at a time, and she's finally starting to see the plate. I absolutely love that. Now, if that is the rest of the saying, I didn't know that, but if not, I think that's adorable. I'm starting to see the plate. When Ben and I were house hunting prior to Groton House, we ended up looking at a home down the street. I'm going to show you that. Harvard is a beautiful little community that does have a general store and some churches, small common. It is true New England living at its finest. Love the large black lights here. Beautiful. Well, now I know where to come if I want fresh quail eggs. This is one of the properties we looked at. It's pretty. It has a little barn.